On this episode of the Who Is This podcast, brought to you by Sierra Pacific Mortgage and Double R Communications, we had the pleasure of speaking with Kathy Grimes of the Graham County Substance Abuse Coalition. This was a super educational episode. We learned a lot. Kathy has been extremely involved in different, community organizations, but for the last 20 years or more, actually, she's kind of taken on the Graham County Substance Abuse Coalition, has turned that into a pretty big deal. They do a lot of good in the community. It's a super important organization in the community, and we appreciate Kathy and her service for running that and helping out with all that stuff. They do a lot of education in the schools and a lot of different events and fundraisers to help the cause and educate people on the issue of drugs and the seriousness of it. And it was a great episode. Me and Davis learned a lot, and we hope you enjoy.
I feel like I hadn't seen you forever, and then I call you, invite you on the podcast, and saw you like the next day.
Oh, you guys ran into each other?
We were up on the mountain. We came down to eat dinner because I'm like, I'm not cooking. I'm on vacation. So
yeah.
Came down the mountain and saw him at Joe's riding thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, have you guys been able to spend some time on the mountain?
That was the second time we've been up there
Yeah.
all year. So, but it rained. It was great.
Yeah, there's nothing better than being on the mountain when it's raining.
Oh, I love it, especially when it's lightning and it's raining. We have the big picture windows in our dining area, and so we like to turn off all the lights and just watch the lightning.
I want to come look at your cabin. Never been inside your cabin.
you should
I want to
come.
next time.
We've
next
done
time
a lot
we're up
of
there,
work to it.
Are you guys gonna go for Labor Day weekend?
Oh, we usually do. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe that's probably the next time I'll go. My mom's there all the time. But
Yeah.
Raining on the mountain is good as long as you can stay dry. So
There you
if
go.
you have a cabin and can enjoy it, then yeah, absolutely.
That is true. So on the way up, it started pouring, and I'm like, oh, good. Keep raining, keep raining. Now, when I get there, please stop so I can unload, and then you can start again.
Yeah.
And it did. It stopped when we got there. And then we unloaded and all that stuff. And then we headed down the mountain, and we were on our way back, and it started pouring again. And we got up there, and we had to sit in the truck for a little while. And then when it slowed down, we're like, psh, we're in there. And then it rained pretty much the rest of the night. So then you open the windows in the bedrooms and just sleep. It's great.
Yeah.
How long have you had the cabin up there?
A long time, about 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works. Is it you just got to get, like, did you buy it from someone else? Did you just got to get lucky and kind of, because I know they're not allowing people to build more up there, right? Yeah.
No. So my brother-in-law was with his old high school sweetheart, and their family had a cabin up there. And they contacted us and said, would you go check on our cabin? Nobody's been up there in a long time. So we had to find it first. We didn't even know where it was. And then we found it, and they said, you can use it anytime you want. So we were. And then they decided they wanted to sell it. And so there was a gentleman that was going to come look at it. And I go, why are we not buying this cabin ourselves? I mean, we come up here all the time.
Yeah.
We used to go up there all the time, and now we don't have time. But
Now that you own it.
yeah. So we talked to our kids, and we're like, why don't we all put in together and just buy this cabin? And we made them an offer, and they took it. Because and so, so then we've had the cabin since then. So now Nick he's not an owner anymore. He decided to bail out. But it's us and our girls, and we have the cabin. But we've done a lot of work to it since we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So.
Do they don't let you do Airbnb or anything? Like,
No.
you can't.
You
They're
can't
very
rent
strict
it.
on the rules.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't rent it. You can't. Yeah. So.
Is it just in an HOA type of thing that someone's in charge of? Like, how does that all
The
work?
Forest Service oversees
Okay.
it, and they do inspections every year.
Gotcha.
And you can't paint it unless you get permission. You can't,
Really?
and you
It
have to
has
use
to be a
their
certain
colors.
color. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
They-
they've got
very strict.
Yeah, very strict rules.
Interesting.
And
So-
from what I understand, a lot of the rules have to do with the red squirrels, right?
Correct.
Isn't that?
Yeah, and they didn't even
crazy?
originate there. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're not even a native animal?
Not to the Mount Graham.
Yeah.
But because they're endangered,
Yeah.
we have to
Interesting.
cater to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
so
still, it's.
you still have to follow their rules. So when they were talking about recently, Congressman Siscomoni posted something about selling the mountain. I didn't know what that was about, but they decided not to do that.
Whoa, yeah.
Did you
Holy
hear?
cow.
It was like a nationwide thing. It was.
I remember.
Yeah, hunters, the hunting community was super
they
against it.
really
Obviously, and
rallied.
I mean, all of
Yeah.
your big Joe Rogan talked about it. Cam Haines, obviously,
Yeah,
Stephen
Steve
Ranella.
Ranella.
They're all very opposed to it, and
Yeah.
so say what you will about hunters, but they definitely came up clutch there because they.
Yeah.
I'm a hunter, by the way,
Yeah.
but they were very against that and got them to remove it. So yeah, that was a
That's
win.
a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a slippery slope. You start,
Yeah.
selling those public lands, and once you open that door, it kind of,
Yeah.
you never know where it's going to go.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Totally will change things big time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all the hunters, that'd be bad.
Yeah, that's that's one of the only things this community has to do is go out and hunt.
Yeah.
So it would really make a lot of people mad, but
I wonder how it would affect the cabins.
Because you don't really own the
You
land.
don't own the property.
You pay
We pay
rent basically
Yeah.
for the land.
We
or
pay a lease every year.
A lease, yeah.
Yeah, and it used to be when we first got ours, it was $1,200 a year. Now it's like, oh, it's up there
I
It's
think
like
my
3,000 or
parents told me
4,000.
$4,000.
Oh, wow.
It's,
Yeah.
it's
Your
just
parents
gone.
have
for a year. Yeah, they
Uh-huh.
have one on the same side by
yeah.
us.
why didn't I know that?
I don't know. I go all the time.
Was it your grandparents' cabin?
Yeah, my grandpa Kempton's.
Mm-hmm.
So when my grandpa, before he died, he sold it to my dad and his siblings for $10 a piece.
Really?
And anybody who wanted in just had to pay him $10, and if they didn't pay their $10, they
Too bad, huh?
That's hilarious. Did anybody not pay?
$10.
I think,
sure there
I
were.
think they all did.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of them never ever come.
Yeah.
In fact, my mom and dad are really the only ones that go.
Really?
Every once in a while, one of the other ones.
Is it your
leaves
mom's side or your dad's side?
My dad's
Your
side.
dad's side. How many siblings does he have?
His family's like yours, mine, and ours family. Let me think. I think there's 6 of them. I want to say.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Big family.
pretty sure. Yeah.
I think I saw your brother up there at the cabin. They were waiting for your mom.
Oh yeah.
Not this time, not this weekend, but it's been a while back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were up there on Sunday. We were out of town, but they were up there on Sunday. Yeah.
We came back on Friday on 4th of July because we went to the Diamondbacks game on Saturday.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So, yeah, we had to get the new cool shirts, right?
Yeah.
So-
Are you a big Diamondbacks fan?
Oh, yeah, we like the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
Isaac
too.
used to work for the Diamondbacks.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
I cleaned second base.
Somebody's got to do it, right?
So I was on
That's
the
a pretty
grounds crew.
important job.
Yeah. So, every 3 innings you see the people go and rake the field, and then after the game, so I helped take
That
care
was
of the
you,
field.
huh?
It
I'm
was
just
fun.
gonna say you used to be a Diamondback, and
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Well, you were.
Yeah, I still am at heart, even though they're
Yeah.
really hard to watch right now. They're good, but they're frustrating.
Right.
They're
And
they're
everybody keeps
just-
getting hurt.
Yeah, we've had so many injuries this season.
Mm-hmm.
Like Torey Lavella was just saying the other day, he's like he said he hasn't experienced a season like this, like with injuries, and they're
Right.
still right there. I mean, they're in the thick of it. So
Yeah.
I told my dad the other night because our MO this season has been blowing leads in the the 7th to 9th inning.
Yeah.
Our bullpen comes in and just
Absolute-
blows the lead. So I was dropping off my nephew at my brother's house, and I stopped by my dad's house, and the 8th inning had just started, and the very first we were up 4 runs. The very first pitch of the 8th inning, the guy hit a home run.
yeah.
So I stopped by my dad's house, by my parents' house, and said, if they lose this game, I'm not going to watch another game until after the All-Star break. But they won the game.
They
So
won, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my staff to a Diamondbacks game coming up on the 23rd. It's like 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh,
so,
fun.
So we go about 7:30 in the morning and be back before it gets too late.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Just to be a fun team building activity.
Heck
so,
yeah. So let's kind of jump into that a little bit. So your team building, what is it that you do?
I
First of all,
Sorry.
we should introduce. We're with Kathy Grimes.
Yeah.
I don't think we've mentioned Kathy. Welcome to the podcast.
thank you.
And now you can answer. Isaac.
What do I do?
Yeah.
I'm the executive director for the Graham County Substance Abuse Coalition. I actually started the coalition in 2003. And it started as a cross-system substance coalition with a primary focus being methamphetamines.
Okay.
And that's when meth was like fentanyl is now. It was huge, and
Yeah.
people were dying from it. And so that's when we started the coalition. And we started as it was the Graham Anti-Meth Coalition. And then we changed it to broaden our scope.
Okay.
So now we address all substances.
And say the name again for me one more time.
It's the Graham County Substance Abuse Coalition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's a big, long name.
Yeah.
I mean, why couldn't I just done something smaller? But
No. I mean, it's good.
My email's that big too.
Well, that's good too, because the more people that see it, the more they'll know about it. So,
Right.
and
Right.
I mean, with the name, there's not really a question as to what it is that you do.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome. So what made you want? You said you started it yourself.
Yes, I was working for CBUS, which is Southeastern Arizona Behavioral Health Services. At the time, I was in their prevention department, and my supervisor came. She was in Sierra Vista, and one day she came to meet with me, and she said, "You need to start a coalition." And I had no clue what a coalition was. I had no clue what the purpose was. And so we started researching. And I started with about 5 members. And half the time, nobody ever came to my meetings. But because I'm persistent, we now have about 50 that come off and on and attend virtually. And so we have quite a few individuals that are on our coalition now.
Okay, wow.
And so we started out as a primary prevention coalition, but now we address recovery and rehab, and we get people to rehab also. So addiction.
Okay.
So now we've really broadened our scope and the work we do. We have 2 sober living homes, one for men and one for women now. And then we have a reentry program, and our reentry coordinator is absolutely amazing. And she works with the judges here in Graham County, a lot with Judge Peterson mostly. And they just launched a new program in the state of Arizona with the Arizona Supreme Court, where if somebody's incarcerated and they take part in, I think it's called the Second Chance Program. I may get this wrong, but we're trying anyway. So if they participate in that program and they graduate from it before they leave the prison, and then say they come back to Graham County, Judge Peterson will meet with them and he'll set stipulations with them on things that they have to do for him. And if they do that, he may, if they follow everything he's asking them to do, he decreases their fines. Because sometimes people get out and they owe $30,000 in fines. And if they can't get a job because they've been incarcerated and people won't give them a break, it makes it tough for them to pay their fines. And then there's interest that's tacked on to those fines. So it's just a vicious circle for them.
Yeah.
Right.
And so this just kind of helps them out a little bit. And so, but they have to want to do it. And so that's one of the programs that they're working on with reentry.
Okay.
So, yeah. And so we have the Reentry and Prevention Center. And Kristen has meetings there on Monday nights, and anybody in the community can go attend those meetings. And she worked on boundaries last week. And
Who is that? Kristen
Johnson.
Oh, okay.
It's Chris Smith's sister.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes down and he talks to the participants. He's great.
Yeah.
He really brings information and stuff to them too, and so he helps them a lot also. But she gets individuals from out of town to come and work with them, and she does podcasts, and she's all over the place. She goes to the prisons, and we tease her about how you wanted out and now you just keep going back. But she goes there to their graduations and talks to them about how important it is to do the right thing. And she has now a newsletter. It's called The Light. And she emails those into the prisons, and they put them on their tablets so everybody can read the information. And they have the resources, especially for Graham County, but there is information for statewide programs also.
And are these, so you mentioned there's about 50 members on the coalition. Are these all employees, or are they volunteers? Or
They're volunteers. Most of them are volunteers. Wow. We have 12 sectors, and I can't ever remember all of them, but it's like the business sector, law enforcement, school, governmental, medical, youth, youth serving organizations. I'm almost there. But there's 12 of them that represent different agencies in the community. And so we all come together. So it gets a different perspective from each individual to bring together, to decide and create information for the community and stuff. So, yeah.
So I'm assuming like a lot of these volunteers, a lot of what they'll do is you mentioned education. Are they going to like schools and teaching or
sometimes?
What are some of the different things that the volunteers
So
do?
we have 4 different subcommittees, and one of them is an addiction and recovery subcommittee.
Yeah.
And that's where some of our volunteers go, and they help with fundraising. Last year we had an overdose. There's a National Overdose Awareness Day on August 31st, and we reached out to all of the schools in Graham and Greenlee County at the end of August and asked them if we could partner with them, and we got purple ribbon stickers for the helmets, and we did a purple out at their football games. And so the band, we got them purple bandanas, and the cheerleaders purple bows, but we took information to the football games so we could educate people on overdose. Fentanyl's huge, and they're mixing the fentanyl with marijuana, all the illicit drugs. And so and they're putting it in vapes also. So people don't know what they're getting when they're using substances. And so we did a little bit of that to educate our community. So our addiction and recovery subcommittee helped with that. Actually, they helped with the planning and came up with the idea. They help with fundraisers. They're putting together some fundraisers right now. The one we've had for a few years is called Wreaths for Recovery. And just before Christmas time, we ask individuals to donate wreaths, and then we sell them in the community to help raise money. To keep our programs going and stuff. So, and then this year somebody donated a quilt top, and then somebody else quilted it for us and donated all of that to us. And so now we'll be selling tickets to raise money for the coalition also.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when that money's raised, what does that go towards to helping like further education? Does it go to these recovery programs? I imagine because it's a nonprofit, right?
Correct.
So it's just, I guess there's a lot of costs involved with helping with these, addiction recovery and stuff like that. Is that mainly?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. We have about one program. It's called Recovery Angels. And so what we do is we work with the hospital. We partner with the hospital, but other groups know about us also in the community. So if somebody said, I'm just tired of this lifestyle, I want to go to rehab, we will help them make those arrangements to get into a rehabilitation center, and we will actually transport them there. So the funds that we raise sometimes go for the fuel that it costs to take somebody to rehab or pick them up or whatever the case may be. So we use it for different reasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think that this is something hugely important for our valley, because you always hear about how big of a drug problem we have here. But I will say I feel like there's a lot of people, myself included, that kind of turn a blind eye to
we're in our own little bubble.
We're in our own little bubble.
It's
not, it's not
Right.
affecting me personally. So it's, I guess when I think about it, I'm like, well, it's, not my problem. And I feel bad for saying that out loud, but that's
right.
That's kind of, so my question is like for someone like me, or in my situation where, it's not affecting me right now personally, what is something that I could do to get involved and help,
Help us with fundraisers, help us with educating youth, getting involved in. We just had a family night with, we partner with the town of Thatcher. I think this was our 3rd or 4th year. And we held a big event at the park, bringing a game or activity to that event and just offering that to the participants there. There's lots of little things that people can do to help us. And it's not all about money,
Right.
It's just volunteering your time. We have a back to school resource fair that we're hosting this weekend. showing up and handing out backpacks, all those little things help.
Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. We've been sponsoring the Back to School Resource Fair for, I don't even remember how long. It's a long time. And we have 500 backpacks, and we do get sponsors. We have Freeport McMoran and the Lions Club. Both contributed money, but we already had some backpacks left over from last year. And so it's open to anybody in the community that wants to come. And we give away free backpacks, but we get other agencies in the community to come also to hand out resources and information. So, for instance, Walton Drug is one of the smaller businesses in town, but they come and they bring back to school resource supplies. They bring vitamins, they bring information, and so they contribute. Let's see, Mount Graham Safe House will be there. The Lions Club will be there, Checking Eyes. We have GCRC, which is the Graham County Rehabilitation Center, which is the thrift store, and St. Vincent de Paul. They come and they bring vouchers. And so say you have a child going to school and you don't have a lot of money for clothes, you can go there and they'll let you get 2 sets of clothes for your child at each place.
And that's this weekend.
And it's free.
That's awesome. That's the one downside about how we do our podcast is because we won't air this until next week. But you were on David Bell's show this morning, right? And so you were able to talk about that. I'm guessing that's why you were there, is because of this event coming up this weekend. Yeah. Dang it, we should have done this last week.
And we were able to link with Reed, and so it went out on Cat Country also.
Oh, good. Cool.
And then we put it on the Valley Vision boards.
Perfect.
And then of course social media, so
so you're getting the word out. I mean, not that this is not a ton of people listen to our podcast, but it would have helped to,
but one person could tell 10 more.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So you've been doing the Graham County Substance Abuse Coalition since 2003. As long as I have known you, which has been pretty much my entire life, you've been involved in one form or another of education. Why do you think that you've kind of dedicated your life for these purposes? Because like I said, as long as I've known you, you've been, so to me it seems like you have dedicated your professional life to substance abuse and or education otherwise of preventing bad habits. I have a story that I want to tell later, but anyway.
Well, when my kids were in school, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom because I always wanted to be able to go to their ball games and participate in whatever they were doing. And so I think I really started with the school, and I was the PTO president. And so we did fundraisers for them, and we started the yearbooks for the elementary school, and we did things like that. And so I had a friend who said, I love what
Which, by the way, I have a lot of my yearbooks from elementary. I really do.
Is that? Yeah. That is awesome. We broke that copy machine one time because we were making so many, we wore it out. So, and we would use the little plastic binder clips to hold it together, but that's how it started, was with just using the copy machine in the office at the school. And then what we would do is we would shop all year long for little gifts. And then we had a Christmas house where kids could come and bring $1 and buy their mom something for Christmas.
Oh,
or
that's cool.
they could bring $5 and buy the whole family
I
something.
remember. I was like, stirring up memories. I remember that.
So we just like doing things for the community and thinking about the people that don't have tons of money, that, helping the ones that want to do something but don't have tons of money to do something, and just remembering those little kids and how excited they were because they got to buy their parents something for Christmas, or their little brother, or whatever the case may be.
And that's funny with kids because, I mean, you guys, when you were doing that, you probably wouldn't have made much of a difference if you just let them come and pick something rather than buy it for $1.
Right.
But with kids, the fact that they're giving something, it means so much more to them by doing it that way. So that's really smart.
Absolutely. So,
that's awesome.
And we would shop all year long, and we would find things that were discounted, and we would just save them. And then say we paid 50 cents, we would charge $1.
Yeah.
And so we made money off of it. So we continue to be able to purchase things
Yeah,
for the
that's
next
awesome.
year. So yeah, I think that's where I started. I just like to help the community. And that's where it started, I think, for me. And then I had a friend that worked for CBUS, and she said, if I ever have a position open in Graham, are you interested? Because you're doing exactly what we would want you to do. And I'm like, sure. So I got a phone call one day, and I'll try it, and let's see how it works. And I was hooked after that. So, and I've always been, I don't know why, I'd never really had anybody that was addicted to drugs, but I've always been kind of pulled towards helping people that are using, or helping them to stay away or educate. So I don't know why, but that's been something that I've always been interested in.
Yeah.
So when she came and said, you have to start a coalition, it's like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
You know? So I love working with the kids in the schools. I love educating them, and then they come back when they're older and say, I remember when you used to come to my classroom. Remember when we made T-shirts? And it's like, I do.
I've got a couple stories. Yeah.
Let's hear one of them.
So I'll share this one. I can't remember if it was 3rd grade or 4th grade. Pima implemented a peer mediator program.
Yep.
And so they chose like 2 kids from every class, and I got chosen to be one of the kids. And basically it was a program where during recess, if there was ever like a scuffle that broke out, instead of the teachers going and intervening, the kids would.
You were the peer mediator.
And I was the peer mediator.
That's
and it was awesome. And for me, the best part about it was like twice a week we got to go do the training. So twice a week it was an excuse for me to get out of class.
Yeah, there you go. And we trained your
That's
peer
awesome.
mediators.
I will never forget that.
Do you remember any specific instances where you're
So
like,
here's-
hey?
Well, here is my opinion of that, is that there became fewer instances because it was on high alert, if that makes sense.
It was
Right.
talked about.
Yeah,
a
it
lot.
was talked about, like, oh, we've got
Davis is watching.
Davis has got his
It sounds like kind of like a hall monitor.
It does-
You were
I
basically
mean,
a hall monitor.
kind of.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no,
Just joking.
I remember, and I.
That's
Well,
No,
that's
that
an
is
interesting
cool
idea.
You remember that.
Yeah, oh, of course, yeah.
We trained all of
That's funny.
Safford's peer mediators for all the way from, we trained the high school students, and they in turn trained the junior high and the elementary.
Yeah.
So they all had peer mediators at one time. Prevention looked entirely different than it does now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that is cool that you remember that.
I was
So-
also going to say, when we did the Christmas house, I bought my mom a deck of cards because she has a huge card collection. She still has that deck of cards.
Really? Oh, that is too
Was it like
cool.
a certain
It was
style or something?
Yeah, it was. It looked like a dollar bill on the back.
Nice.
That is too
great.
cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Awesome. Wow. I'm glad that you have memories from that.
That means you did a
Positive.
good job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that means you made an
cool.
impact, which
I'm
is
sure I'm not the
awesome.
only one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
That is
I will say too, growing up in Thatcher people, say what you will, but growing up in Pima was the best.
Oh, I agree.
Whoa. Why did you have to start with Thatcher people say what you will?
I mean,
I don't have anything bad to say against
okay,
Pima.
good.
And I never did.
We have lots of friends in Thatcher and Safford.
I became a Thatcher person, so I
Yeah.
feel like I can
You
say
can
that.
say
But,
that.
Yeah.
He's playing on both sides.
I moved here from Bisbee when I was in high school
Oh wow.
because they closed the mine in Bisbee, and they moved. I was a Bisbee transplant, is what they called us. And my dad worked at the Safford mine, and at that time it was an underground mine.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
then when the copper prices went down, they flooded the mine, and they moved all of the employees to Morenci.
Huh.
Yeah, so I moved here when I was a sophomore in high school, and I was
You can
Bisbee.
still tour those mines, by the way. It's kind
Yeah.
of a cool thing.
The
to
underground
do.
mines
Yeah.
in Bisbee, or
Yeah, they take
Yeah.
you on a little train and you can
Really?
go deep
Yeah.
in the. It's crazy.
Ooh, that
Yeah,
made me a little
it's really
nervous.
cool.
Yeah.
I've been there once.
Yeah.
I never went there when I lived there, but I did after I left.
There's a lot of cool history in
Yeah.
Bisbee.
There is.
I know that their baseball stadium, I think, is like it was like the oldest stadium in the nation at one point.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's
I
really
think.
cool.
Don't quote me on that. There's something historic about it. I know
Yeah.
that, but I couldn't tell you exactly
Bisbee has
what.
a lot of little hidden treasures. It's very different than when I lived there.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the Bisbee 1000?
Uh-uh.
It's a run that they do, and you go upstairs, and it's 1,000 stairs.
Oh wow.
And you run all the way through Upper Bisbee. I did that. I took some youth one time down there. I think we ended up in last place, but I finished.
That's what
all
matters.
that matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was good for me because I got my grandmother lived in Upper Bisbee, and so I got to talk about and revisit my childhood by like, wow, I remember going up because she had 100 stairs down and 100 stairs up to her house, and so she would get the grandkids to come and help take her groceries out of the car up, and then she would give them candy or money or I don't know, whatever. But yeah, so it was fun to do that.
Yeah.
And when I moved here, I was a sophomore in high school. I was Bisbee High School rodeo queen, and they didn't have anything like that here. But I found some friends that were also into horseback riding, and we started a rodeo club at Pima School.
Oh, cool.
So I think I've been doing this work for a really long
Yeah.
time. And I remember the boys, they found steers somewhere. They borrowed steers from somewhere, and we arranged a rodeo out at the rodeo grounds in Pima. They bussed all the kids out there, and we were culturally competent even at that point. We had stick horses, and so even if they didn't have horses, they still could participate.
Yeah.
And we went and got prizes from the stores, and we had raffles, and we had a country western dance that night. And so of the night of our event. So it was fun. I mean, growing up in Pima, I mean, we could do fun stuff like that, you know. And I was I made the palm line, and being at a smaller school, because Bisbee was a lot larger at that time. Going to a smaller school, you had more opportunity just to participate in stuff than I did in Bisbee.
Yeah. And it sounds like organizing just comes naturally to you.
Yeah, I
organizing things.
I don't know where I got that from.
Whenever I'm asked to organize something, big event, that is like a nightmare to me.
Yeah.
But it sounds like just something that you've done since an early age, and it's just come naturally to you.
I guess so, maybe.
And that's an important skill to have when you're organizing
totally.
fundraisers and things like that for what you're doing. So.
Yeah. And I like teaching the youth how to do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a youth symposium coming up in September, and there will be youth from Pima County, Santa Cruz County, Graham, Greenlee, Cochise, and Gila County there, about 100 youth.
Mm-hmm.
And so we actually are going to bring somebody in that's a radio personality, but he also has a podcast to teach the kids how to put together a podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
Cool.
Yeah, because that's so popular right
Oh,
now.
every kid wants to be a YouTube star. Oh, okay. All my kids want to be, that's what they like. My daughter Avery will find videos on my wife's iPod or iPad, and it'll be like, okay, my last video, like she's acting like she's talking to all of her viewers, and it never actually goes onto YouTube.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just me and Shaylee that are listening, but that's like what they aspire to do. So that's cool that you do that, because that's something they're going to be really interested in.
Yeah. And then we're going to have a gentleman come and talk about youth leadership, and there will be breakout sessions for them. It'll be a one-day event. So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, and I think that substance abuse education is extremely important to talk about at an early age.
Yes.
I mean, because I remember as a kid, doing the DARE program and things like, and hearing about that. I made a decision early on to it was never even a question in my mind. I was never going to touch anything like that. And I've been able to hold true to that my entire life. And
That's
so
awesome.
I think that it's important to talk about at an early age and educate about, just how life-changing and bad, it can be. And, I was just too afraid. I'm never going to touch it. It doesn't make sense to me.
Not even interested at all. Yeah, I wasn't either. Alcohol, all that stuff. It's like, why, Yeah. We start with kindergartners.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, like, what age do you think is the appropriate age to start having that conversation?
We start with kindergartners, and it's just communication, and it's teaching them how to make good choices and things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
do you think that there's not really too young to start saying certain things?
No, because
Okay.
we teach them different skills, and each year it builds on the skills that they learned before.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time they're up to high school, then they've got the ways to say no and things like that. So,
Okay.
and sometimes we tell them you can use humor. We tell them, sorry, I'm not going to. I got to go walk my pet goldfish. And kids remember that
Yeah.
one.
Uh-huh.
They remember that one. And so the next year when I go back, it's like, okay, let's practice, our ways to say no. And they'll get up there and they'll be like, I would like to, but, I got to go walk my pet goldfish. I got to go.
See, and that's something that I wouldn't think of, is to teach how to say no. That's smart. I mean, I'm too basic, I guess. Just drugs are bad, don't do it. But yeah,
Right.
I mean, peer pressure is a real thing, so it's good for them to have a plan like that. Like that's awesome.
Yeah. And so with the program we use the Too Good for Drugs program. And so it starts with like just one way to say no. And then each year it builds on it. And so it's really a good program. So.
Mm-hmm.
And then we come up with creative ways to, educate our kids. This year we bought some kites. We found some kites on Amazon. They were only $1 each, I think it was. And we taught a lesson on underage drinking and the risks of underage drinking. And we had them design something that went along with that, a ways to say no to alcohol. And then I went to Pima and I went to Solomon too. Thatcher, they were too busy for us this year. They had a lot going on at the end of the year, so we didn't get to Thatcher, but I'll call Leah this year. She'll let me do that.
Yeah.
She's awesome. She's very supportive. We've been to her classroom a lot.
Yeah.
But what we did was we took the kids out. We had some high school students come over that play sports like Cedric and some of the other kids that the kids look up to. And we had them come out and we brought the goggles and we brought the pedal bike. And, I had them talk to them about why they stay off of drugs, why they don't drink alcohol, why it's important that they don't do that. And then they just hung out with them and flew kites, and we just had a really good time. The wind came up just right when it was supposed to, like we ordered it, and yeah, it was fun.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
so it's a good way to teach them, the basic skills and to bring attention to it, but also a fun way to do that.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll remember that.
Yeah.
So we went to Fort Thomas and did that too.
Yeah.
So,
I think that a lot of parents are very naive to how
yeah.
young kids really are exposed to stuff,
I agree.
because I'll use myself as an example. Some of my best friends, I'd go over to their house and there were their brothers doing
Yep.
unsavory things.
Your mom's gonna have a heart attack when she hears that.
Well, it's funny because I have only recently, I'm 35 now, only recently have I told my mom, did you know when I went over to so-and-so's house, they had marijuana there?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you would have thought she would have a heart attack.
Yeah.
And if obviously she knew then that I was going to be exposed to that kind of
Right.
stuff, would never have let me associate with those people. But
I was so naive in high school. Like, I know that there was people that I was very close to
Right.
that were I don't know exactly what they were doing, but I know that they were. Looking back on it now, I'm like, oh yeah, he was definitely, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you hear later in life, it's crazy. But I was just so naive, and I mean, a lot of my friends, I didn't do it either. But I mean, in Thatcher, it's such a small school that everyone's your friend, really. I mean,
Right.
everyone knows each other. Everyone kind of hangs out in their own little groups and stuff. And luckily, in the group I was hanging out with, that we didn't really have that. But I think it was closer to that group than what I realized at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think you can be too careful.
Right.
It is scary.
Especially if you're not using or you're not around it that much, you don't realize what's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was lucky, but my kids are going to have the same type of experiences, and maybe they will, just make one little decision the other way that could lead down that path. And, fortunately I didn't make that decision, but I definitely was probably, could have, I was fortunate. But so that's why I think that education is
Right.
very important. And I think I feel like a lot of people are afraid to talk about it, but I think that that's even more risky if you're not talking about it.
So we have a program that's called Make Mealtime Family Time. And we actually have some placemats that we just made, and has games and activities and conversation starters. And so we give those out to families, and we really encourage them. I don't care if it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, a snack, whatever. Sit down with that and just interact with your child. And then we have some rack cards that you can take in your car. And because when you're in your car, nobody's going anywhere, right? You can turn off the radio and have a conversation.
You got them stuck, yeah.
You have a conversation. And we put some rack cards together with questions and with conversation starters. And so you can keep those in your car. And it's like, well, so what do you think about A, B, and C? And, and you can have an actual conversation about it, and nobody's going anywhere. And even if they're not talking, they're still hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you got all the electronics put away.
Yeah.
That's a key.
Perfect for driving through the reservation or over the mountain.
There
right?
you go. When nobody has service there. Yeah. But we really encourage parents to talk to your kids, and you don't have to talk to them about drugs. Just talk to them. Find out what they're doing. If they have phones, where are they on social media? Social media, you could contact somebody on social media right now, and they would deliver drugs right here now. And then they have all those emojis, and parents don't know what those emojis mean. And they're just signs like, this is what I want you.
Communication is totally different than when I was in school.
Absolutely.
Which is, I don't feel like I'm that old, but it's like.
Yeah, you're not.
Yeah.
But can you imagine me, how old I am, and then trying to understand all of that? But that's why we try to stay on top of what's happening and what we need to do. So, and how to educate the parents. So, because we hear about it and then we bring it back to our communities. It's like, okay, parents, this is what's happening now.
There was an ad that popped up on my Facebook all the time a few months ago, and it was this guy, and he was like, did you know that the average parent talks to their teenager for a total of 7 minutes a week?
Wow.
What?
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
That's super crazy.
I could see that, especially with the mine being here. People have long hours, and then they're tired, and they probably
I think this was nationwide,
Yeah.
but 7 minutes a week to their teenagers.
That's
is
crazy.
And then the
pretty crazy.
teenagers
So
are
just
busy.
to your point of how important it is to
take one meal.
communicate.
And I bet most people don't even realize that
No,
because
yeah.
they're probably around them and
Right.
in the house and
Right.
talking but not really talking.
Right.
Right.
So yeah, that is crazy. I think that's something that you've got to really be conscious about and make an effort to actually have those conversations.
What we did when my grandson was younger, because him and his mom lived with us for a while, we had an activity where we got a big wooden spoon, and whoever had the spoon had the floor. Nobody else could talk. And it was just about listening. And so we asked a question one time, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go and why? And my mom couldn't stop talking. So she'd ask, well, why are you doing this? Like, no, you can't ask that question. You have to just listen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about, listening and really hearing what they have to say. And I was really surprised where family members, because you see them all the time, where they actually said they wanted to go and what the reason was for that. So
That's interesting.
I had a fun conversation with my daughter this morning. I was driving her to her babysitter, and she's like, Dad, why do we need the sun? I'm like, you're talking about the sun and the sky? And she's like, yeah, why do we need it? I'm like,
good
oh,
question.
you tell me what you think. And so she kind of it was kind of cool because she put it all together herself. It was
that's
like,
awesome.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah, it is funny the things that they think about and wonder about, and yeah.
Yeah, something so simple, and we just take for granted. And it's like, but they're questioning why. So that's why we got to keep talking to them when they're young about drugs and alcohol and other risky behaviors, because they are curious. And so we have to keep talking to them.
Well, and there's so much information that is right at their fingertips on
Correct.
YouTube, and everything. You want to make sure, and both correct and false information.
That is
so
right.
it's scary what they can find on their own. My kids will say things like, where the heck did you hear that?
Right.
Or, and it's YouTube. They're just
Right.
It's
TikTok, all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's why we've got to make sure if our kids have electronics, we know what they're on, what they're doing, who they're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
That's all important.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was gonna Can I shift gears a little bit?
Yeah.
So you mentioned you started this in what year was it?
2003.
And back then it was meth that was, you know, a really a big issue. Is there any theories or ideas or maybe, you know, facts? Why do you think, or why is it that Safford has, or the Gila Valley has such a problem with drugs?
I think it's everywhere.
Okay.
And I just think that it's going to be everywhere. To what degree it is and how bad it is depends on the community. And I think the education is important. And I think, you know, talking to people and telling them fentanyl is huge right now. And has been for a while. And, you know, educating people about fentanyl and what it is, because some people don't even understand what it is.
I was just going to ask. I mean, you hear about fentanyl being in other drugs like marijuana and like just the littlest. So do people use fentanyl just for fentanyl? Like I don't understand what fentanyl is. I'm very ignorant to that.
So there's medical grade fentanyl, which they use at the hospitals. They use when you have surgery to help you with your pain.
Okay.
But that is made in labs, and they know exactly what is in it every dosage, right? But then there's synthetic fentanyl. And what happens is they bring these chemicals from China, and they send it down to Mexico. And in these jungles in Mexico, they have these big drums that they're making this fentanyl, and there is no recipe for that whatsoever. Somebody may get high on fentanyl and get the high they're looking for, and the next time they may overdose and die from it. And so when we're teaching the kids about fentanyl, we tell them, so when you're making chocolate chip cookies, do you count how many chocolate chips you put in your cookie? And they're like, well, no. Well, they don't measure how much of the poisons and chemicals they're putting in each batch of fentanyl. So, and then they have pill presses that they're making pills that look just like what a doctor would prescribe for you. And so you cannot tell the difference if it's synthetic fentanyl or if it is prescribed fentanyl.
Gotcha.
And so that's why it's really important for us to keep talking to our kids and saying, you know, your friend may be vaping. They don't really know what's in that vape. Or, you know, and there are vapes that people make at home, and you have no clue what chemicals they're putting in them. And so they have to be very careful with, you know, whatever. And so the marijuana, people are like, it's just marijuana. No, it's not anymore. It's not. And so they'll put fentanyl in it to get people addicted to it, and it's very addicting.
Gotcha.
And so so what we do is we go in and educate people. We have PowerPoint presentations. I'm actually going to San Carlos next week. I went a couple weeks ago also. They've had, I think there were like 15 families that were affected. They got a bad dosage of a bad batch, there we go, of fentanyl on the reservation, and there were about 15 people that passed away because they overdosed from it, and families don't know what to do. They don't have the Narcan that we have. And so I'm taking Narcan down there and teaching them how to use it and how to identify if it's an overdose and what to do. Keep it in your emergency first aid kit. We all should have it in our emergency first aid kits. There was overdoses at the gas station. We heard about, there was a gentleman that was walking in Speedway one day in Thatcher, and he noticed this guy was slumped over the steering wheel. And so he went to go make sure he was okay. And no, he was not. And we had just given a nurse some Narcan, and she just happened to stop there and said, do you need help? And he goes, yeah, he's overdosed. And so she ran to her car and got her Narcan, and they called the first thing you do is call 911. So you have help coming on its way. And then you started administering. Narcan will not hurt you if it's not an overdose. If it's something else, another medical issue, it won't hurt you.
So it's,
if you give it to somebody. And sometimes it takes more than, in one box there's 2 dosages, and sometimes it takes more than that. Sometimes they have to keep giving it to them.
Is that just a shot that they're giving them?
It's actually a nasal spray.
Oh, wow.
And there's 2 nasal spray in each box, and so you put one on one side of the nostril, and if they start coming around, you just watch them and make sure they're breathing again and things are happening in the right way. And if not, you administer again. You can administer, and you're never going to overdose them on it if you keep giving it to them.
So
So I don't know if that was me walking in and saw someone slumped over the steering wheel, I don't know if my initial thought would be overdose. Are there like specific signs to look for, or
Yes.
is that one just kind of being,
Yes.
what's the word? Just, anyways.
You would look for purple fingernails because
Okay.
that means lack of oxygen, blue lips, clammy skin. Let me think what else. Not breathing or not breathing very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think what else is another one. But those are some of the
Lethargic. That's the word I was looking
Yeah.
for. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not talking to you at all. Usually, if they're overdosed,
Okay.
they're not responding to you at all.
They're, okay.
But when you do give them the Narcan, sometimes because what's happening is, I hope I explain this right. We have brain receptors, and then the opioids cover those brain receptors, and that's what starts causing the overdose. When you give them the Narcan, it knocks that away, the opioids off those brain receptors, and they go from a euphoric state to sometimes they're in pain, they're hurting when you take those drugs away, and sometimes they become very violent, and so that you have to put that once you get them breathing again, you need to put them in a rescue position that's facing away from you. So if they do become agitated, or they start throwing up, they throw up, they mess on themselves, there's lots of different things that happen, then you can get up and get out of the way.
Yeah, that's interesting. They become violent, almost like a defense mechanism type of thing. Where
They're hurting.
Yeah.
And so you take them from that calm, because they're just not breathing. They don't feel anything. And so, and you take that away from them, they become they hurt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the opioids are very addictive. Yeah. So.
Wild. Yeah, like I said before, it's the work that you do is very, very important, and I'm glad that we have someone like you that is taking it on.
Thank you.
know?
Yeah. Did you know that we were the first community in the nation to host a prescription take-back day?
Really?
Yeah.
In the nation?
In the nation.
Where the prescription dump where people can get rid of pills.
Yeah.
We were the first one?
Do you know where the DEA got the idea from? Us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something to hang your hat
feather
on.
in the cap. That's awesome.
So
Cool, because those are super popular. I mean, you hear about that
it's
stuff
huge
all the
now,
time.
Oh, yeah. Chief Griffin from Thatcher, when he was the Safford chief, he was part of our coalition. And it's like, okay, well, what are you guys seeing on the street? Are you still seeing meth? And they're like, no, we're seeing prescription drugs. And it's like, okay, so what should we do? And he said, we ought to ask people to clean out their medicine cabinets and bring them for proper disposal, because people are abusing the prescription drugs.
Because they have them laying around and just,
The oldest one we ever got was 15 years old. The
Holy
prescription drug
cow.
addiction.
That would be my mom.
Yeah.
We were talking about this the other day. Both of our parents just hanging on to stuff forever.
Well,
Like,
sometimes people, they keep them just in case they need
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Especially older people. Maybe they don't have the money to purchase things or whatever.
It would not surprise me if my mom had 15-year-old pills at her house right now.
dude, we should.
We need to get her to clean out her medicine cabinet.
We should
do an episode
We should
of
both
just
go and
rating
look
our-
and see who wins. We
Yeah.
should see who wins.
Who has
we
the
should,
oldest prescription?
Whoever has
drugs.
the oldest prescription.
So we partnered with the hospital, and we asked their pharmacists to take in the prescription drugs that people brought in, because we can't. It's against the law for us to do that. And so they did, and that's when the We was brand new, and we got money from somewhere. I don't even know what we did.
The what was brand new?
The We place.
the
Nintendo.
Wii. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
And so we bought one, and we gave people the incentive. If you bring prescription drugs, we'll give you a ticket for a chance to win this, right? And so people did it. And so they brought the prescription drugs, and then the hospital incinerated them and got rid of them for us. And so we didn't know it was against the law to do that. We had no clue.
Because we were doing that out of a good place.
Well, law enforcement told us it was a good idea. They didn't know it was against the law to do that.
Yeah.
So I go to the statewide meetings, right? And they're asking, what do you guys do in your community? Well, we started this new program. It's called Dump the Drugs. And this is what we do. And they're like, wow, I got a great idea. Can we do that? Sure. Can we
That's
steal your
awesome.
idea? And it's like, I don't care.
And
you
what
know?
do you
Wow.
remember what year? I mean,
It was in 2005.
2005, yeah. I was going to say.
2005. And so then the DEA happened to be there one time. They're like, "Do you realize you're not supposed to be doing that?"
even if the law enforcement is involved, like,
well, that's one thing that we had to do.
yeah.
And so, so what we had to do was we had to contact the special agent in charge and write a letter and state who was going to help us take the prescription drugs back. That's the only reason that we got to continue doing it. And then in 2000, I think it was 2007, they called us and said, "Tell us about your Dump the Drug Day. How do you advertise for it? Who gets involved? Who do you partner with? What do you do?"
Yeah.
And then I think in 2010 they held the first nationwide Take Back Day.
Wow.
And
That's cool.
yeah. So nobody knows where that came from. We do. But I actually have a newspaper article with the date on it showing that we were the first ones.
That is awesome.
I was invited to Apache Junction one time to a coalition meeting to talk about our Take Back Day. And a police officer was sitting there and goes, "You know, we were the first ones in the state to do that." And I go, "When did you guys do yours?"
Look at my newspaper article.
Yeah, he goes,
bud.
yeah, I'm like, "When did you host yours?" "Well, it was like in 2008 or 2009. I'm like, yeah, we were a little bit ahead of
We're
that.
4 years ahead of you, bub.
So yeah, it's like, I'll challenge you to that.
That's
one.
awesome.
Yeah, I found that article the other day. I have it on my desk actually.
See, and that's something that just I hear about all the time. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, that's one of those things where you don't think that someone had to be the first person to have that idea. So
Yeah.
that's
That's
cool.
where it came from.
Yeah, that's a feather in the cap for sure.
That is awesome.
Wow. So do you have anything else that you want to tell us about or share with us as far as, anything at all that you want to share before we end?
I don't think so. I think, yeah, we've covered a lot, huh?
I have
Yeah.
one more thing I want to ask you
Okay.
about. Totally different topic.
Okay.
Why the Kansas City Chiefs?
Because they're the best team in the NFL.
That's a great answer, actually. Have you always
They've proven that.
been a fan?
My
Or?
husband is from Kansas City.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
He moved here when he
know
was 10.
Oh, okay.
And so he's always been a Kansas City Chiefs fan.
Oh, you've
And
had a fun the last few years has been fun
and
for
we
you.
went to, I think it was the first year they won the Super Bowl. We went to the championship that's before the Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
And we got to watch them win. And it was that stadium is absolutely amazing. And their fans are behind them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Even in Kansas, we stopped at McDonald's one day and they had their Kansas City Chiefs jerseys on, and yeah, they're just
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, they're one of the older teams, right?
Yeah.
They've been around for a long time. That's one thing that the Cardinals, there's nothing you can do about it because it's still just a newer
so
franchise. So you
frustrating.
don't have a deep fan base. I went to a
Every
Steeler
home game is like an away game.
Yeah. You just don't have that deep. It's going to get there eventually, hopefully.
Well, you could go to the Cardinals Chiefs game on August the 9th. They have a preseason game. I'll be there.
I went to the I can't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago. They played Chiefs in
Yep.
preseason. And I
Yep.
went to that game.
I went to a
You'll be there.
Steelers game in Pittsburgh because my in-laws are big Steelers fans, so we went and did a trip just to go to a game, and it's just a completely different feeling and atmosphere. Those fans, because
They get behind their teams. big
those
time.
older teams. It's
I feel sorry for the Cardinals fans because they really try, but every year it's just the same outcome.
yeah,
So.
they need.
We
Maybe
need
one
like
day.
a good Chiefs
You need a
run.
Mahomes.
Yeah.
That'll
It'll dig in some roots
Yeah.
for
I tease Cedric and tell him he's my younger Mahomes.
hey,
Yeah.
he starting quarterback his freshman year.
Well, after the two other quarterbacks, the first string and the second string got hurt, then
Yeah.
Cedric came
Is
in.
this
as
Nick's son?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it took him all the way to state playoffs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
What
Yeah,
is
2 years in a
Props to
row.
Cedric.
What grade
That's
is he
awesome.
going to be in now?
He's a junior.
He's a junior.
junior, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
So yeah,
That's exciting.
Not many high schools have a
I know.
junior that has
He's
3
got a
years of
great arm.
Experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's
That's awesome.
he's good. He's a natural athlete.
And he has a pretty fun highlight reel too. His
Yeah.
deep passes and it's awesome.
Is Nick still coaching?
I don't know. I don't know what he's doing this year. I would say yes. If
Probably,
Cedric's
yeah.
involved, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Nick's right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nick's such a good guy. I like Nick a lot.
He is a good guy. Well, thank you so much for letting me be here.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks for
you.
coming.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask one more thing. Do you guys have like a Facebook page or anything
We
like
do
that
have
you
a
advertise
Facebook,
on? Okay.
Yeah, for Graham County Substance Abuse Coalition. And then we have one for Kristen's programs. It's called The Light.
Okay.
And that's the recovery side.
Okay. Cool. So the Light. So if they just searched on Facebook, the Light or Graham County Substance Abuse Coalition, they'd be able to find you.
You should be able to find us.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And are you always looking or needing for more volunteers?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. If you're interested in volunteering, we would love to have you.
Should they just contact you or
Yeah, or Kristen, anybody, any of
Kristen.
our coalition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well,
Kathy, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Appreciate it.
Reed made the wasn't it Reed?
Yeah,
Reed.
I was up at my cabin a couple of weeks ago, and he texted me and said, "Hey, I have a great person you should invite on the podcast." And he said your name, and I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And then I talked to Davis, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I know her really well. I don't know why I didn't think of it." And so yeah, thanks to Reed for the suggestion. And again,
Reed's amazing. We appreciate his support. He helps us a lot.
He is involved in so many things, and always willing to put the word out and help. And it's a shame that he's not going to get these delicious treats that were brought to him. He really deserves them, but yeah, but we'll tell him how good they were. Thanks for coming, Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy.
Like Gucci.